Looking for a purchase order software? I know it's hard. There's so many options that's available, right? If you do search G2 or Google, you'll see hundreds of listings, and you don't have time to actually go through every listing and trying to figure out what's the right solution for your company. So in this video, I'm going to give you a 3 simple step process to find the right purchase order software solution for your company that meets your exact needs. And stick till the end, where I'll share one feature that most companies forget to ask, and doing that upfront could save you a lot of rework. Now, if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. My name is Sachin Sharma. I am the founder of ProcureDesk, where we help growing companies automate their processes around procurement and AP. So let's jump right in. So number 1 is defining your use cases. So what do I mean by use case? A very common mistake that you see with most companies when they start looking for a solution is going and making a list of features. I need a system that can automate my purchase acquisition process, or it can generate a purchase order, send it out to the vendor, or it could connect to a marketplace or things like that, right? The problem with this approach is you are not clearly defining how is your process working for these specific use cases or for these requirements. Those requirements are to solve a use case. So the difference between use cases, it's very specific to your requirements. So what do I mean by that? We create a purchase request where we capture these 5 fields. Based on the department, it needs to go for approval to a department head. Based on that, if a project is selected, it should go to a project manager for approval. And if it is more than $50,000, it should go to the CFO for approval. That is a exact use case you're looking for, right? So if you define your requirement like that, it is very specific to what you need, right? Similarly, like if you're looking for the end-to-end automation and not just purchasing, like matching your invoices with purchase orders and receipts, clearly defining your process and how it is working right now and where you envision it or how you envision it to work, that is what the use case definition is. You don't need to spend a lot of time on that, but spend time to at least document the top 3 or 5 use cases to start with. So that's number 1. So now you got your use cases. How do you figure out the right solution for you? There are 3 filters that you can apply to narrow down the shortlist, right? So number 1 is, like the vendor, is they serving market like yours in terms of size? So are they for small businesses? Are they for medium? Are they for large? What are they for, right? So that you can quickly figure out if that's the right solution for you. Like if you are looking for an enterprise, so vendor, they're not going to, and if you're a growing company, that doesn't meet the requirements. So number 2 is, do they serve your industry? A lot of time, if they're already serving your industry, they have already baked in those best practices that you should be using in your purchasing process. So that helps a lot when you're setting up a new system, because it already have the best practices that is used by your industry. Number 3 is, it must integrate with your accounting system. So if you're using QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, you name it, it should integrate with those accounting systems, so you don't have to worry about moving the data manually between these different systems. Otherwise, you just have one more system that doesn't talk to your, I would say, system of record in this case, right? Your accounting system. So that's number 2. That's how you go about shortlisting it, right? So you got your use case, you got your shortlist. Now what do? Of course, you do demos, right? So you reach out to those vendors and you ask them to show the product. Now, the problem with demos is they're just too short, right? I mean, in 30 minutes, how much you can make out in terms of whether this is exactly going to meet your requirements or not. So what we recommend rather is, instead of obviously do the demos to figure out whether they're in the right ballpark or not, right? In terms of feature set and pricing and things like that. But then find your top 2 and ask for a sandbox or a trial. Generally, 14 days trial is more than enough for you to figure out how this is going to work. So what do you do with this? You figure out, you have your main champion, if you are the person who is evaluating that, then you should be playing with the tool to figure out ease of use and things like that. But what you can also do is invite your 1 or 2 power users, so they can see the product up front provide your feedback so later adoption becomes much easier, right? So that is an easy way for you to involve your stakeholders in the evaluation process. Do the trial, but in the trial, go for specific details, right? Configure your use case and make sure that it's easy for you to configure it and so on. So you can see exactly how it's going to work before you purchase the software. So just to summarize, here are the 3-step process for you to figure out the right purchase order software for you. Number 1 is figure out the right use cases, detail them out. Number 2 is shortlist based on size, industry, and the system, whether they talk to your accounting system or not. Number 3 is ask for a sandbox and trial for, let's say, 10 to 14 days. Now, one of the common mistake many companies make is they don't ask for details around audit trail. So imagine you're a growing company, you have auditors who are coming in and looking for, I would say, controls, compliance, and so on, right? Now, if you don't have a good audit trail in your system from day one, this will become a very chaotic process later on. So look for a system that can not only support the core features, but has very strong audit trail built in. Think about the ability to track who made the change, when it was made. If a document is changed after it was approved, then you have complete audit trail of all that should be captured. So if you found this video helpful, drop the word guide in the comments and I'll send you a detailed checklist that you can use to further simplify your selection process for a purchase order software. Thanks again for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video.